Hi, I'm Beki Eakins, business mindset and lifestyle coach for occupational therapists. I focus on creating a freedom-based online business, helping OTs to package up their skills in unique and exciting offers that feel so good that they sell with ease in the online space. Since leaving the profession of OT, I have now worked with hundreds of clients online, helping them to create a life they feel inspired by. In this podcast, I will talk about the lifestyle goals, mindset, and strategy you need to create your own life of freedom. Hello and welcome to the OT Yourself to Freedom podcast. I'm your host, Beki Eakins, and today we're going to talk about basket weaving. Not really, but when did basket weavers stop weaving? When did OTs stop being known for those kind of occupations? So we are obviously the profession that years ago used to get mocked for basket weaving and crafts. I don't know if we do now. We're always the ones, I used to think, who turn up to working on the ward with homemade soup or homemade hummus and things like that. We knit, we bake, we're the ones bringing in the banana bread for the team. I don't know if that's a UK thing, but I swear every hospital that I've worked in, it was always the OT who would be supporting the team with their homemade goodies and crafts and things like that. It was always a bit of a joke. And so, we are a profession who are built entirely on one idea about meaningful occupation being medicine. And yet we are also burning out faster than other professions, maybe, I don't know. But we're burning out fast. And so what happens when the profession of meaningful occupation stops doing meaningful occupation? What is going on with us? And this whole brand and the idea of OTing yourself to freedom, it literally started when I was working in a hospital. And I was at yet another leaving do for an OT who was leaving to go and do something that was on her heart. This particular OT was leaving to go and open a bakery. And I'll always remember just kind of speaking to another more senior OT at the time and saying, why is it that it feels like all the OTs are leaving to go and do these amazing things? And she just kind of said, well, of course, they're OTing themselves, dear. And that was where the idea that we could OT ourselves really kind of came into it. And this particular OT, she kind of baked cakes for all the staff as she was leaving, and literally she just iced her own goodbye and off she went. And I've no idea whether she succeeded or not. I never stayed in touch, but I do remember thinking, wow, there's a lot of OTs who are leaving to go and follow their passions, leaving to emigrate, leaving to start a business. And I do think there's a big part of occupational therapy where we're more likely to OT ourselves right out of the door, and move away from traditional practices and into things that make us feel good inside because we're so aware of it. But at the same time, this kind of contrasting world that we live in, there's many OTs who, and myself included at one stage, who just get so lost in life that actually our occupations are no longer meaningful, and leisure is not a thing that we even think about. So yeah, I just want to kind of speak into that because I think it's important. And I think it's important in terms of burnout. Like, we see so many burnt out OTs coming into our program over and over again. It's not a great point, is it, when we've hit burnout? Like, it's a shame that we reach that stage, but such is life. We blame the job, we blame the caseload, we blame the paperwork, the management maybe. And that might be true, but also I don't think it's the full story. I just wanted to take a moment to share how I help occupational therapists to create their own version of freedom. I help OTs all around the world to design, launch, and scale their online business. You will learn how to tap into a deeper understanding of your purpose, your mission, and how to turn that into an exciting offer to sell online. I've clients who've hit 3K, 5K, 10K, and 15K months. Anything is possible. If it sounds like a good fit, then contact me via the link on the show notes. So, Christina Maslach, the researcher who basically defined burnout, she describes it as three things: emotional exhaustion, depersonalization, and a reduced sense of accomplishment. Interesting. Emotional exhaustion, depersonalization, and a reduced sense of accomplishment. So it's the pieces within the workplace, not to do with the amount of hours that you work in, but actually about the value that you feel and who you are when you're going through that, which is quite interesting. And if you put your OT hat on, what do we call a life where one occupation swallows all the others? And we are going to maybe think of it in terms of occupational imbalance. Anne Wilcott wrote about this decades ago in An Occupational Perspective of Health. Her framework being the doing, being, becoming, and belonging that I remember very, very well as a student, really kind of feeling into that. And health is not just what you do, it's who you get to be whilst you do it and who you are becoming, the whole journey, which is so important. And I've always loved that. I think it's so important for home educators as well, as OTs, and just kind of recognizing the journey. The journey is it. I love that. Karen Whaley Hamill went further in 2004 in her Canadian Journal of Occupational Therapy paper. And so she argued that the meaning in our daily occupations, and not just the categories, is what makes life feel worth living. So it's the meaning in our daily occupation, which is the most important. Wagman and colleagues, in their 2012 concept analysis of occupational balance in the Scandinavian Journal of Occupational Therapy, found that balance is the subjective experience of having the right mix of occupations. So it's got nothing to do with the timetable, but just how that kind of mix feels to you. So I don't think we're really burning out because we're doing too much. I think we're burning out because we're doing too little of what we value, of what makes us excited, of what makes us feel alive. So work is not the thing, really. I just think that we need to be looking at the other things in life, like our occupations and our leisure and our hobbies and all the things that we're passionate about. And I, for one, I've always said this. I can remember there was a lady in one of my last workplaces, and she was still working late into her retirement. And she said to me, what have I got to retire for? I can't imagine not working. And I was just like, oh, how can it be that anybody could think that they would be bored in life? Like, life is so rich and so full of things that if I was to retire from one minute to another, like, there's just a massive list of things that I want to achieve in life. And like, I don't care if other people are still working and I'm on my own. Like, I'm on my own agenda and I've got a big list of things to do. Can never understand it when people think that life is boring, because there's so much richness of everything in life. But anyway, that was just my perspective. So I had burnout. I don't really think it was about work. I think it was actually more about me at home. So yes, it was about work, and there was pieces that I was not aligned to, and there was pieces of work that I didn't agree to. So they went against my values. So they eroded me in many ways. And then lots of different bosses, lots of staffing problems, um, just lots of pieces that I didn't like. But I still don't think with all of that that it was work that was the real issue. I think it was my personal life. And obviously my ex-husband had the heart attack that like depleted us as a family. We had major trauma, I guess, within the family. The children affected by that, of course, and then mother role having to take over a lot of things. But also with all of that, I lost a lot of my passions, a lot of my interests. I wasn't following my purpose. I can remember looking at my purpose, and this was a few years after that kind of burnout stage, and when actually not that long after, if I think about it, it was probably a couple of months, starting to dive into what was my purpose. And just like literally a shock horror moment where I started to dig deep into who I was and what made me excited in life, where my energy was, what my purpose was. And I just literally looked at myself and thought, oh, you're not living your purpose one bit. Your life is so far off your own path. It's like you're not even living the right life for you. And the truth was, I think we'd got long COVID at the stage, and I was a bit low and depressed, and I was just sitting on the sofa feeling ill, just not moving. And yet the person inside of me was running mountains, cycling, laughing, having fun, and really full of energy. And I was like, looked at myself, and I looked at what I was doing an hour before and 3 hours after, and like, when was the last time I got on my bike, and when was the last time I got outside and did the things that made me feel amazing? And I just looked at myself. It was this real hard look and thought, wow, you've really traveled a long way from your own path. No wonder you feel terrible. And that was quite a big kind of realization, to realize that my occupations don't represent me one bit. I'm really out of alignment with the very core of who I feel like inside. And that's not sustainable. And no wonder, as well as everything else, but no wonder I hit burnout, because I think I could have coped with personal tragedy and trauma. And I think I could have coped with work being difficult had there been this strong sense of alignment and like life inside me, where I'd got this piece of me that I was really happy with. But there was nothing. And so that's why I was so easily knocked down by life. So I'm like a big advocate for leisure occupations and meaningful occupations being so important. Um, and I think I'm not the only person, obviously, as we know, as OTs, but Sabine Sonitag and Charlotte Fritz in the Journal of Occupational Health Psychology in 2007 identified 4 experiences that help people recover from work strain: psychological detachment, relaxation, control over your leisure time. And this is the big one: mastery experiences. So much in that, like I could literally get so excited about that whole sentence. But control over your leisure time, like who has control? I have control over it, but there's very few people who actually have control over the leisure time, because very often your occupations are like dictated by this really rigid calendar. Even children, I used to get on my high horse about this a lot, but you send your children to school, they talk all day, and then you send them to activities that are scripted every single day of the week. So they go in here, they're being taught by that person, and all the time they're controlled, they're controlled, they're controlled. Whereas in reality, my strong belief is they need to be out of control, like not controlled by adults, just left to their own devices. And that's when their creativity comes out in big ways, when they are allowed to like shock horror, be bored is literally the moment when they're like, what can I do? Is the moment when they really start developing strong characters and strong like sense of like, oh, I could do this or I could do that. I literally love watching them. So control over leisure time is amazing. Psychological detachment, relaxation. We don't do these things. We don't rest enough. We literally don't rest properly enough. We just like scroll on social media. That's not proper rest. We will go and we'll do things, but it's not proper rest. Like I love just going in the middle of nowhere where there's no internet, no disturbances, just being out in nature with no agenda and no listening to audiobooks. That's one thing that I'm terrible for doing, is feed your mind. But total rest really is just blankness. It's just there, being free and not trying to force an agenda of any kind, not trying to improve yourself, but just allowing yourself to be fully present. Love being present. And it's really hard to do. And then, of course, the last thing they say, mastery. Oh, mastery. Literally love this. So get too excited today. Mastery is just meaning leisure or occupations that challenge you, that build you, that is so completely different to the rest, and that psychological detachment, like so completely different. But mastery just gives you something, is a whole new thing. And it's like leisure, but at the same time, you're building a part of you, you're growing. And a big believer that, it's great to have a bit of both. We don't always want to do mastery. Sometimes we just want to chill. But, kind of choosing one thing and being really purposeful about it. So if rest is the thing that you really want in, then be purposeful and present about rest. If mastery is the thing you're trying to get out of your occupation, then really go for that. I just think mastery is brilliant, because when you see it with kids, don't you, when they start learning how to do a new activity and then they achieve it and then they've got this real strong sense of confidence. But for some reason, I feel like it's easy to stop doing those things, stop doing those points of growth, stop going to a new class or trying a new experience as you're an adult, and just do the same. And then you fall into the same habits. But it's something really nice from actually learning something new. Kevin Eshelman's 2014 study in the Journal of Occupational and Organizational Psychology says that people with creative hobbies, they actually recovered better from work and perform better in their jobs, because they can offload basically at the end of the day. And so the hobby is not distracting you from being better at your job. It's actually helping you, according to that study. I recorded a mindset meditation, one that you can do overnight. Very powerful in terms of helping you create the confidence, the self-belief, and deal with any money mindset issues. I use these kind of overnight meditations all the time. I found them incredibly powerful. So I've created a very special one, and I'm giving it for free to all of my podcast listeners. You can download it on the show notes. Robert Stebbins calls this serious leisure. It's the kind that you commit to, that you go to weekly, or, really put a strong commitment in. The kind where the skill development isn't easy, but you keep showing up. And his research shows that serious leisure builds identity, confidence, community, in a way that casual leisure never does. So there's a lot to get from that.
And I feel like the science is quite clear. And I feel like actually we already know the science. Like we're OTs at the end of the day. We already know this in our hearts and souls. But it's so easy to fall off your own path. I mean, I was an OT for 13 years. I fell off my own path in a massive way. And so I think it's nice to kind of have a moment or a podcast that reminds you to actually focus on this. And of course, this takes me to being on a wobbly board in the middle of a lake. So I've often watched people paddle boarding and always made the assumption that there's no way in the world I'll ever be able to do that, because I don't tend to be able to stand up on stable ground. Very often you'll find me leaning or holding on to things. And I regularly fall over nothing. Like I literally don't know why I fall over, which is quite ironic having worked on a force team for so long. But I'll very often just trip, fall, not be noticing. I think my eyes move faster than my body, and I'm very definitely not naturally coordinated. And so, first time on a paddleboard, I just literally screamed. It was pure terror, actual terror, because I have a lot of fears. And I was on a board on water, and this thing was moving and wobbling like a newborn deer. I felt like Bambi legs. There was no way I could stand up the first time. I ended up going on kneels, just kind of kneeling up. And the other thing, of course, is I'm terrified of being underwater. I've not quite conquered that fear yet of like falling into the water. This is going to be the thing that I have to sort out this year. I've just got to do it and never put my head underwater. But you know, even despite that, I'm still managing to keep growing and advancing. So yeah, I am paddleboarding. That's my 2026 hobby. And I can stand. I've progressed it. It's taken a lot of like conquering fears to do it, and having a very good partner who does like stand and hold my hand until I can get myself. I've learnt little tricks like go out on your knees first to find out where the wind's strong, because we're out on open lakes, and just kind of like building up safety like that. But also at the same time doing quite a lot of yoga and karate, which I think is helping with the balance. And it just depletes me of energy, like the fears and the emotions that I go through, like so exhausting. But at the same time, like I come out like all exhilarated because I've done something, I've achieved something. This is like a new thing that I'm standing on a paddleboard. And it was the exact same thing with mountain biking. I mean, I've biked all my life, but I'd had a few years off, and then I picked it up again last year, and going out mountain biking on trails, up mountains, in forests. And, you know, it was nerve-wracking when I first got on the bike. I can remember the same last year. It was exhausting. It was like a white knuckle ride. I'd be holding on, like, I'm really, really scared. And then now I'm doing things that I thought were terrifying. I just find them easy, and you just kind of move through that, which is lovely. The new hobby that I've taken up recently, which always makes me laugh, is karate. It is so funny because I'm so rubbish at absolutely anything that karate offers you. So balance, coordination, following sequences and instructions, hip mobility and flexibility, being hit, like I'm not really comfortable with it. And the other things that I don't like are touching people. And from a sensory point of view, like it stinks. People have got bare feet and they're sweating, and bleh, like the whole thing is really, really gross. And it completely pushes me out of my comfort zone in every single way. The idea that you would get me touching sweaty people, and fighting in a karate class and following instructions is just quite hilarious. It's everything I'm not good at, but there's something that I find quite funny about doing everything that you're naturally not good at. And each week I'm improving a little bit. And I do get a lot of like satisfaction from thinking, okay, I'm the worst here, but I am making improvements and this is all good. And, you know, fall over, keep getting back up. And even just the experience of being pushed over is quite, you know, it's quite a big thing. But I am getting stronger and I am getting better at it. So like I'm really valuing the occupations that I'm doing at the minute because I come out buzzing. I'm coming out like I've achieved something. And I think for years and years I didn't do these new things. I didn't challenge myself. I just kept repeating the same things that I always did. So maybe, going running. I think like most of my life, I realized I just move my body forwards and that's it. I never go sideways. And of course, just like challenging your body to move in different ways is fantastic. Doing a bit of off-road driving as well to get to these places and literally just terrifies me. Yeah, I think it's good to do these things that terrify you over and over again. And so all of these hobbies, they just really just teach me the same lesson. Confidence is not something you're born with. It's not a personality trait. It's literally a byproduct of continuously pushing yourself slightly, a little bit. Push yourself. Don't say no. Actually consider it and maybe just try that thing. And it's all these little occupations that build up into you feeling confident in other areas in life. And I always think sometimes it's so overwhelming. So the big things have often made me cry. So the first time I ran a marathon, I can remember I just cried as I was getting over the finishing line. When I reached the top of Kilimanjaro, I was just full of tears. Like, I can't believe I did it. The first time I've climbed something or, achieved, it is same with the paddleboard. Stood up. Oh my goodness, it's so overwhelming. Because you really think you can't do something and then you do it. And then it gives you this sense of trust in yourself and in your body. And it's amazing how that affects you in business. I notice a lot of my clients, I'll say to them, you're not trusting your own decisions. You're not trusting yourself here. Why are you not trusting yourself in this situation? And I do think that it's a good chance to build trust. And of course, it's not about the times that you do. It's not about winning. It's not even about making it all the way. It's literally just about learning how to self-resource, to build yourself up and realize that you can trust yourself and that you can really put yourself in situations and know that you've got the ability to do things. But why do we sometimes get to a stage where we don't have as many occupations? Because this isn't everyone. This is just some people. And my mum being one of the obvious cases. So I just remember my mum telling me she'd got no hobbies. She was asked in a church group, I think it was, what's your hobbies? Tell me about yourself. She says, I've got no hobbies. I didn't know what to tell them. I've got 5 kids. What do they think I do? And that was quite serious for her. That was the situation. And we probably depleted every bit of her time. I'm fairly sure of that. But it always played on my mind. Like, I couldn't believe that somebody could be in this position where they didn't do things just for themselves. But since then, I've met a lot of people who might be in the same boat. It's mainly women. I don't know if that's a sweeping statement. It's definitely being a parent can be like a big time when this happens. Or if you're caring for somebody, like you lose your sense of self. But you've also noticed this if somebody's got a strong partner. So there might be one partner in the relationship who has a lot of hobbies and their hobbies are really important, and then the other partner just follows and just kind of goes with their hobbies. So maybe they just never decided to assert their own hobbies. Anyway, it happens for various different people. And so Gail Whiteford, writing in the British Journal of Occupational Therapy in 2000, she did talk about occupational deprivation, where you cut off really from meaningful occupation by circumstances that may be outside your control. So very often we apply it to refugees and prisoners. But sometimes I think there's a bit of that happening to parents, people who work, people who are in caring responsibilities for others, that that they're cut off from occupations that they would like. And I don't always believe as well that caring is like occupational deprivation, because sometimes you get so much from it. I know when I home educated my kids, I didn't really have any hobbies at that stage. I think I did a little bit of running still, but I didn't do a lot. And that was because I was so fulfilled by it. I was so deeply absorbed in kind of creating, I don't know, just creative opportunities for them. Watching them learn, like it just lit me up intellectually, creatively, emotionally. I think we spent over a decade just playing games constantly, over and over again, doing art, going to museums, just traveling the world, meeting other people. It's just like, it was just beautiful. And I felt like I had, I guess, a lot of occupations, even though they were all mainly for the kids. It felt good. It was aligned and it was nourishing. And maybe that was my hobby, the kids at that time, and I was very happy with that. So I don't think it's like one or the other, but it's just good to evaluate what you're doing. And very often we can learn things at a later age. So Winston Churchill took up painting at the age of 40. And he was at rock bottom and he decided to pick up a brush and he just painted for the rest of his life. And he even wrote a little book about it. Painting as a pastime, where he argued that parts of the mind that were worn out by work can only be rested by using different parts entirely. So he found a lot of meaning in the paintbrush, which is lovely. And he ran a country through a world war, and yet he still painted. And so here's the thing that really bugs me about the whole kind of leisure thing and business, obviously, because I'm a business coach. But, people don't think to build the business around the leisure and the hobbies and their occupations. And so I do believe it's missed out in the planning stages of most businesses. I mean, how often do you hear somebody say, I'm going to create a business? So first of all, I'm going to look at what I enjoy doing in my hobbies. So I like to go out cycling, and I like to go out cycling first thing in the morning. So I think I won't start work until 10. Like, people just don't talk about this, but actually to me, that's really, really important. And I have built my business around my leisure, and my leisure changes all the time as the kids have grown and changed, and I now have more time. And I work around 12 hours a week, which is sometimes more, sometimes less. I can choose to work weekends. I can choose not to work weekends. It really depends on my mood. If the weather's good, I can just shut the laptop and go paddle boarding if the wind is low. Or I can go mountain biking or whatever I feel like. And then, of course, I work more in the winter when it's colder and there's kind of less occupations to do. So the business is designed so life comes first rather than life being squeezed in after. And I think that's so important. And that's what you miss when you've got a boss, because your boss controls your times, yeah? Your boss controls your diary. That was a big shock to me. I did not like that. And that's why I didn't send my kids to school as well. The idea that school control when we go on our holidays, no, don't like that one bit. And so, yeah, you can design in, but you've just got to remember to do it. And people get caught away with all the other parts of business and they forget that, we are working so that we can live a wonderful and happy life. And it's possible to have both bits as long as we plan for it and, expect it and dream for it and create it in. And the thing is, I work 12 hours. I could still work more. The business is there's always stuff not done, always stuff not done. I could keep working forever. There's never a day when I just close the book and think, that's it, I'm done. So it's got to be a choice. It's got to be a choice to say, okay, I'm gonna value these leisure occupations. I'm gonna value my free time and realize what it does for me and what it does for my family and what it does for, my growth as a human being. And when we have that value on, we have time for something. So, bit of homework for you. As always, a little bit of kind of journaling or thinking. So number one, write down what the person inside you does. So the real person inside you. So not the tired version, not the version that's working long hours, but the part of you who's inside. What's that person doing with their time? What's this version of you that kind of feels alive inside? If you can tap into what makes them happy, what makes them excited, what are they doing, what activities are they doing? And then just have a look at your life and see how much you're actually doing of it, and just pick one thing from that list and make sure you actually do it this week. Not when you've got time, literally make time, make it a priority. And let me know how you get on, because I literally love hearing these stories.
If you are an OT with 3 to 10 hours per week spare, then the OT Yourself to Freedom membership is best for you. It will teach you how to create a business, an online freedom style business, but in an affordable way. And this is best for those of you who haven't got the time to really go for it. If you have the time to go for it and you want to achieve bigger results in a short space of time, what you're looking for is the OT Freedom Collective. This is for OTs who've got 10 hours a week or more and you're just really keen to get big results. That's where you're going to be closely supported by our team for a 6-month period. It will be intensive. You'll learn everything you need to create this freedom style business. And the biggest word that people say about it is that it's life-changing.